His name is Ashkenazi, 31 years old, an artist, a traveler, and a Russian.
Sometimes it happens for a few bars just to feel just that's right. But it happens so seldom. Terrible.
He was born in Gorky in the USSR in 1937, the son of a professional light music pianist. He grew up in Moscow, where he studied at the famous Tenya Music School. But since 1963, he has lived in the West almost constantly on tour. A Russian with an Icelandic wife and a house in London, but no real home, and still very much a Russian.
I feel that I come from the Russian cultural background. I feel that, you know, the vital juices in me come from Russia. But I believe, well, I hope that I've developed further than just being inspired by the Russian cultural background, because performing art can't really be in the frames of one country's cultural background. But I find myself, if I hadn't been in the West for these 5 years, probably I wouldn't have got even where I am now. Because you simply have to be in the atmosphere of the great masters of the past who understood this music. My family still lives in Russia, so I have some kind of practical ties. Yes, of course, I correspond and I write to my friends, but I don't go there.
Instead, he has spent 5 years touring in the West on a Russian passport, and with hardly a break until June 1968, when he decided to move to Iceland.
You can imagine. Yes, you can imagine all this travel, all noise and all difficulties and luggages and planes and hotels and everything. And in the midst of a tour, I sometimes think, God, I can't stand it anymore. I have to go and rest somewhere. Really, even when I have a day or two, if I feel really tired, I'll just take a plane and go to Iceland for one day. But I wouldn't have gone to London for one day, because there I won't rest. And this is an ideal place for such a retreat. It's already marvelous. You feel already much healthier. And that is very important, because playing is not just mental work, it's also physical work. You have to be in good form always. Too bad. You have to have energy and vitamin C. So you come here for the snow and midnight sun and waterfalls and green mountains and snowy mountains. And it's worth it. It's worth having this. My wife couldn't really buy this house without me, but she already saw it. And then in January I had literally one evening free, so we decided to fly here for a few hours. In fact, it was just for 3 hours, so that I can see the house and to go next morning to Copenhagen. I had to play in Copenhagen. So I came here in the middle of the polar night. It was very romantic. The circumstances were very romantic, I must say. So we chose this house. Now we came here just for a few days, and we thought we could put all our furniture and stuff and things, but nothing has arrived, so it's all empty. Look, I have my Beethoven here, that's all. I haven't had time to unpack it. Look, there is nothing in the house, absolutely. I mean, just parquet, nothing else. Look, the kitchen is empty. Come. I couldn't offer you a cup of tea or like a long breakfast. Very much room, nothing, no piano. I'm practicing a little bit. That's our first day in Iceland. First time we could stay here, and there is nothing. It's a bit stuffy here though. Dolly!
So once again, Ashkenazi has no real home. And instead of bringing his children here to Reykjavik as he had planned, he decides to charter a plane and to fly north to Isafjordur, where they're staying, to join them there.
You know, there is another advantage of Iceland. In England, the children go to school until the end of July. And they start, I think, in the middle of September or something like that. I think middle of September or October at least, definitely. So they have very little time for summer holidays. I myself personally think it's crazy. But now having Iceland as our base, children will go to school here. And they will end school in the middle of May and come back at the beginning of October.
Hello, hello. Hello.
Look what I've got on. New clothes.
Hello. Kiss.
Naka, hi. You mustn't hurt my leg. Look at my phone.
No, how are you?
Beautiful.
Okay?
You're a good guy. You're a good girl.
Huh? Are you? How's your cold?
But, you know, we travel all the time, almost. So, more I travel without them, more I want to see them. And, you know, older they grow, more I want to see them anyway. It's the funniest feeling. You know? And it's not what you call family life. You know, family life has some funny connotations, you know, that you sit in front of a fire, you know, have your tea with children around you, something like that, play with them. To play with them, I don't know, I'm not so interested in playing their toys with them. I don't care much about that, but I want to spend some time with them, to talk to them, you know, to tell them what I feel about things, and to know what they feel about things, and, you know, to grow together somehow, like human being with a human being. And if the children see that, that's already a good thing, and it's a pity we don't see them more, of course, but what could I do? I couldn't stop playing. Right? And now, when I go to London now, I will do what I ever do in London, but at least I will feel much better because I know that when I go to Iceland again for those 5 days, I'll see the children every day for hours and hours and hours. So in London, I'll do the same things as ever. And that's just before the end, yes? Yeah. Just really... Yeah.
London, July. The Decca Recording Studios to record the César Franck Sonata with Itzhak Perlman. This is their first recording together.
So you will record now, no? Sure. Will you? Yes, okay. Then we'll come and listen.
Well, do you want to run the just before I start?
Yes.
Do you want to accelerate that way?
It should be in
Yeah,
tempo.
it could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a little boom, 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 a little staccatissimo. is that?
No, don't you think that the level is such tremendous of violin against the piano?
No. What a fight.
You see, you can't hear my high notes even because you're so loud.
Yes, I think we should have to
Absolutely.
take it down just a little. Now here it's fine.
Where am I?
This is not bad. Oh, that's alright. I think that's alright.
Well, if that's all right, then the other one has to be all right.
No, because he's playing big chords up there, you see, whereas he wasn't over the place.
Yes, that's right. The individual notes.
I think this is an uphill fight.
I know, it's friendship.
One note.
That was beautiful.
It was.
Yes. Very good.
Yeah, but that A wasn't.
This is all lovely, actually.
This was very good.
Yes, I agree. This is beautiful. It's sad we stopped there. Why didn't you go on?
Any comments about the sound?
I think the sound's excellent.
It's good, except that the violin, I think, has too much at the moment. Not to say he
In one
plays
or two
absolutely
spots, we'll
beautifully,
talk about
but
that.
I think it's still a duo and not just the violin. It's not
I quite agree. I think it's
Oh,
very important it should
definitely.
be.
You know what?
No, but the thing is that why is it then that sometimes it's
Well, look,
it's the balance varies then.
Well, the balance varies because on these big, thick chords, you know, it's...
This, yes, exactly. You hear these chords because like this, yes. But here, when I play a note at the time, then you don't hear. You hear just the general rumble. You know, that's all.
Well,
You know, you don't hear this melody even that I'm playing. I put all my weight on these notes.
it's a very fine thing, you know. There's not too much violin. There's just a fraction at one or two
No,
places.
it's
that's all.
it's
Yeah.
Acoustic a bit less.
Then well, is
less
that good
violence
enough reason
seems
to
be
completely
fine.
take it off?
Oh, no. I don't want to completely... do
It's
it.
okay. It will be heard. Don't worry. Shall we rehearse the finale now? Shall we go and rehearse the finale now?
If you
Okay,
want to
that's fine.
read
Good
it
idea.
out,
Let's do
that's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
it's no good to say that you can plan your days in London. No, it's quite impossible to plan them because there's so many things that you have to do. So I have to record, of course, yes? Then somebody from some radio station will phone me and say, look, can we have an interview? This, okay, we'll have an interview. Then some program is going on in television, somebody will come, could we have just 5 minutes of you saying something? That'll take half a day. And I can't tell you everything because, you know, as always, life brings you things. And in London, life can bring you so much more than anywhere else, you see. Again, when I come to London, children won't be there. I know that I come to London now simply to be part of the artistic life in London, to play myself and to enjoy that marvelous, stimulating center of art, you see.
London again, August the 14th, for the first season of South Bank Summer Music in the new Elizabeth Hall. To play duos with Itzhak Perlman and Stravinsky's own arrangement of The Rite of Spring with Daniel Barenboim.
That goes for me too. And that's all right, no? Shall we play just some of this?
Yeah, let's play from around here.
Yes.
First time.
No, second.
Second time. Buy a new piano for this hall.
Oh, it's hard, isn't it?
So, let's play the very end now.
Well, maybe we'll play first something slow, huh?
Hmm?
Let's play something slow.
Like this. Where?
Well,
Where was
let
that?
me play that thing.
Hmm?
Okay. What am I trying to achieve? God.
Well, you see, the answer is very simple. To do justice to the piece of music you're playing. But after you finish, you're off the platform, and you know you have to play this piece again in 2 days, or in 2 years, or in 10 years. You know you have to achieve the same thing, and a better thing. But when I'm being asked, isn't there a feeling of satisfaction, or if you feel that you played well? I could say, yes, there is a feeling of momentary satisfaction. I don't have a sense of lasting satisfaction, ever. Can't be.
So from time to time, well, sometimes I think it's a funny thing that, you keep it polished, you play it probably better and better. Then you die. What is that all for? So funny.
Antwerp, October the 29th. This is the start of a 10-day tour in which he is to play 7 concerts in 6 cities. In a sense, his success in the West began in Belgium, when he won the Queen Elizabeth of the Belgians Prize in 1956 at the age of 18. His first recital on this tour is in the Queen Elizabeth Hall in Antwerp's famous zoo.
You're going to go now.
Rotterdam the next day, to play a Beethoven concerto with the Rotterdam Philharmonic Orchestra. As an artist, one of his major problems has been coming to terms with the traditions of Western music and playing the great composers of the West to Western audiences.
The attitude to that great music is rather patronizing in Russia, I think. I had no idea how to play. No, even worse. I had no idea how great this music was. Because in Russia, unfortunately, they can't teach you this music. They don't understand it. They don't have any tradition. Bach is generally just a mathematic. It's not music, you know. It's all mechanical mathematic exercises. And so on to Mozart and Beethoven. Beethoven was, well, you know, probably a little more imaginative, but still too square, you know. I mean, how far can you go? And this still exists. I think I understand it, and I think now I managed to express this understanding. But a few years ago, I couldn't.
The heart of Rotterdam was destroyed in 1940, and in rebuilding it, the Dutch have created a modern civic centre and given pride of place to their new concert hall, De Doelen.
But even now, you know, it's sometimes difficult to insist on playing a Beethoven concerto somewhere, because it will be natural to us that Ashkenazi plays Rachmaninoff or Tchaikovsky. By the way, I don't play Tchaikovsky anymore at all. But on those few instances when I insisted on playing, I found that I could play another Beethoven concerto next time, which is encouraging.
The conductor is Edo de Waard.
Mr. Ashkenazi, what do you like here? This. What kind of dynamic do you like here?
I think it should be forte, not for the metaphor.
Yeah, okay? Okay. Dam, pam, padam, alles met z'n woord. Hendrik, graag. Hendrik. compact gaan dan.
The question is whether you have something personal to express. I believe I do have now. You see, it's very interesting that in Russia, when you're a teenager, at least at my time, you are so much conditioned by the Russian music. You're so much taught that, not even taught, but some of the atmosphere is that Russian music is so important and so emotional and really the best music in the world. And one never forgets that Mussorgsky, for instance, said about Bach's fugue that they're just mathematical exercises, you know? And, you know, Bach is one of the foundations of the Western music. And being conditioned like that, obviously, when you come to the West and live in the West, your attitude is changing very much. And you find the new significance. And if you play Beethoven or Mozart, you can't really say you play it in the Russian way. It's ridiculous. There's only one way, it's Beethoven way. Well, this is being Russian. The other people know that you're Russian. And I think that if you have studied in Russia, then you just simply can't, being of Slav origin, play Beethoven. You know, in the program notes, they say that this soloist has studied in Russia. That's it. The critic who comes to the concert and sees the program notes, oh, he's from Russia, he can't play Beethoven, he can't play Mozart, nothing. Even if I managed to play that particular evening pretty well, even in style, whatever you say, he'll still say, oh, of course, this Slav nature, and it was all too much of that, and not enough of that, you know. You can't escape it. Now, I don't think in these terms, and I'm not inhibited anymore. I think that his music is too important to think that it can be played only by a certain race. And I don't think that the Slavs are so inferior people not to be able to elevate themselves to the world of Beethoven. On the contrary, I think they can.
it's not so often that I play with conductors who are younger than I am. So, you know,
Well, it'll stay that way for 50
Well,
years.
now it will have
Winners.
to happen more and more often. By the way, about the horns.
Our one?
No, not your
No,
horns. Your
please.
horns were very good,
Sure.
but tell you a very good story about young conductors. No, really. In Russia, in the conservatory, when they have the exams, final exams, when they graduate from the conservatory, once such a thing happened that the very well respected conductor who was in the jury made an arrangement with the horn player, with the first horn player, to play a wrong note in a certain bar in a piece, in a very well-known piece. So, and the conductor was supposed, obviously, to stop and say, you're not playing the right note. So the symphony went on, and that bar arrived, and the young conductor didn't stop the horn player. It went on. So that man in the jury stops the orchestra and says, young man, why didn't you stop the orchestra? Didn't you hear the horn play a wrong note in this bar? He said, no, professor, I haven't heard anything. Then the horn player stands up and said, professor, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Russia, somehow, is never far from the conversation, and his relationship with Russia is complex and paradoxical.
I feel certainly indebted to Russia very much. And as long as I live, I'll be grateful that I was born there. I'll be always grateful. I can't separate myself from Russia. After all, I'm Russian. But I feel much more, I suppose, now, a man of the planet, a man of the world. And when you ask me where I live, it's very difficult to say, well, I live in England, or I live in Iceland, or I live in the United States, or I live in Russia. Although if I say I live in Russia, it will be quite a different story. Probably you won't see me here very often, or not at all. Tchaikovsky Festival.
Although he doesn't go to Russia, and his music has at times been out of favor there, he finds, ironically, that the Russians are selling his recordings in the West.
Again, portrait of me here.
They must like you again.
Maybe I'm again in favor. Maybe I can go back and come back here. You never know.
Will they mention you favorably someone? What's
Never
going wrong with
expected
them,
to
huh?
see. It's incredible. It really is. Okay. Let's go, huh?
All right.
November the 3rd. They have driven from Rotterdam to The Hague for an afternoon recital of Beethoven and Chopin. But the problems of making a home are still with him, even on tour. With Amsterdam, Paris and London still to go, his wife, who seldom leaves him, has to return to the house in Iceland immediately after the recital.
Well, in playing, I suppose my ideal would be to be the medium entirely. And those few times in my performances when I felt that actually I don't play but something plays by me. Sounds too mysterious, but there's nothing mysterious about it. It's just sometimes I achieve my highest potential. And in that highest potential, in fact, I don't feel that I'm playing anymore because all my bodies, all my impulses, in that stage, they're on such a high level that I simply don't play. My body plays by itself. And there's no more to it, you see. Well, that's my ideal as far as my work is concerned. I don't think much in terms of outside my music. But I shouldn't think that I depend so much on material values. I really don't care so much about it. What I really mean that, to my mind, music is the highest expression of a human mind. I really think so. I'm not ashamed to say it because I know that Beethoven thought so too. And I simply couldn't imagine of not being associated with this great expression of our mind. There are many things which you cannot say in words because words simply don't cover everything in life. But if you try to explain music, you fail. So isn't it worth living to try to express inexpressible?
My wife is my most valuable advisor, my most valuable critic too. And she tells me exactly what she thinks, and she has a very natural response to music. And she helps me immensely. I couldn't overvalue her help, really. Well, how much importance you can attach to the criticisms is a very arguable thing. And when I sum it all up, I come to a conclusion that I shouldn't take too much notice of the critics. Only I and my very close friends who know what I can do, how much I can develop, what good I have done this particular evening. Only they can tell me, and I myself can tell me what was good, what wasn't good, and what I have to achieve. And critics, they can't teach me.
We don't usually bother. If we get the papers, if they're there, if somebody tells us, then I don't know, I don't care at all. But he cares. If he gets a bad one, he gets very upset. If he gets a good one, he says they're all fools, they don't understand anyways. You can't please him at all. I'm very grateful that I've been studying music ever since I was 2 or 3. I mean, I've known nothing else, and I'm very grateful for it all, because it is a great help. And I suppose I enjoy it.
Well, I don't like traveling by myself, and Dodi goes with me all the time, or almost all the time. Just these days, Dodi has to go sometimes to Iceland to fix some more things in the house because not everything is completed yet. And now after my Hague concert, I go and play in Paris and Amsterdam. I go by myself because she'll go to Iceland for a few days. What am I? I'm a human being, right? I'm a musician, pianist. What? I'm a man, husband and a father. A Russian, half Jewish, and a football player. A traveler. And I am a citizen of the world. I hope.